People think that dissent in Britain fails because people don't care. Now, that's not true. People do care. People are angry. People want change. Dissent actually fails because it is managed. You're allowed to protest, right, as long as it's predictable. You're allowed to be angry as long as it is contained. You're allowed to march through the streets of London as long as you do it the way that they want. And the moment that people step outside of that script, the response changes. And that's what this video is about. Not how they're banning dissent, not how they're crushing it, but how they are containing it.
So here's to the ones who won't back down, stealing their spine and are beating downtown. If your heart still beats for this old home soil, then you're my people in this loyal coil. No more masks, no more stage duration, no more bought and paid for stations. If you're done with scripted conversations, step into the unfiltered nation. Take a seat, switch on, feel the elevation. Real talk, real grit, no fabrication. You crossed the line, there's no more waiting. Welcome to the unfiltered nation.
First, we need to start with something basic. In Britain, the right to assemble and protest is a human right. It's not a favour, it's not a permit, it's not something that you ask for. You see, rights don't require any type of permission. But look at what we've been trained to accept. Stand here, apply there, stay behind that barriers, go home on time. That isn't freedom of assembly. That's a managed activity. And because that's the only version that we are being shown, people think that's what protest is. I know people don't need this explained to them. They've already seen it. They saw Whitehall. UKIP and Nick Tanconi were banned from protesting. What did we see? We saw all the men in masks. We saw all the flags. And there weren't flags of Britain. Antifa, Palestine. We heard all of their chants. And the quiet question people asked was this: what exactly were they defending? Because it wasn't Britain. UKIP wasn't even allowed to march. But those videos and those images were allowed. They were tolerated. Their actions were explained away on all these left-wing media channels. Now, look at Manchester. Britain First marched through that city. Thousands of patriots, flags waving. It was a sea of red, white and blue. That should have been front page news. It wasn't. And here's why. You see, political parties that can assemble people don't just protest. They challenge Westminster itself. Political parties can stand for elections. They can turn anger into power. They can put people into office. And that's what threatens the system. That's why UKIP was treated differently. UKIP wasn't criticised. No. UKIP was told no. You're banned from marching. Permission denied. Shut down before we could even be seen. And there is a visual power play here. When masked men are allowed to march through Whitehall, they're saying they're defending their Muslim brothers. And when political parties are blocked, the message to the ordinary people is clear. Don't turn up. People, they don't really want confrontation. They don't want intimidation. So what do? They stay at home. And that right there is how dissent gets neutralised without ever banning it. Just look at the years of the Free Palestine marches. Week after week, we got roads blocked. We've got aggressive language. Yes, it's policed, but it's also tolerated. It's framed as this expression. Now compare that to the protests at the Bell Hotel or any communities reacting after the sexual assault of their women and children, many by illegal migrants. Suddenly the tone changes. They have all these fast arrests. You got heavy policing. It is always zero tolerance. Same again last Friday. Look at it. The Iranian protest. Immediate pressure, immediate force. Now here's the rule once you see it. It's not what you protest. It's whether your protest can be controlled. See, don't get me wrong. 2026, I've got a new lease of empathy. So this isn't about demonising the police. But they do have to ask more questions. They do have to challenge their authority being pushed down onto them. Because most officers are operating inside a framework that they didn't design. They're trained to see a protest as an event, not as a right that exists with or without permission. So when thousands gather without asking, the system doesn't see democracy. It sees a loss of control. And this is a great place where AI can come in. All the stuff that Starmer's been saying about Grok and everything else. AI systems already have restrictions. I've personally had AI refuse to generate an image because it detected a child. Yes, it was my child. The image was harmless. Picture this, a Toy Story scene, Woody, Buzz Lightyear, Bullseye the horse. No politics, no risk, no harm. And the system still said no. And that tells you something. Safeguards, they already exist. So when these politicians talk about banning platforms or clamping down on AI for safety, this isn't about children. It's about fear. Fear of speaking. Fear of sharing. Fear of open conversation. And that is how control works when censorship will be way too obvious. This is where pressure valve parties come in. Reform UK, the Greens, Advance UK. They weren't built to win power. They were built to absorb pressure, I'm sure of it. Loud enough to be useful, but harmless enough to be safe. So I'll say it again, Dissent in Britain isn't failing because people just don't care. It's failing because we have been trained to express anger in ways that would never impose any type of cost on power. March here, chant this, apply there, go home on time. And when people stop asking permission though, the response tells you everything. This isn't chaos versus order. This is control versus consent. And once you see that, you will understand that is why nothing really changes. If you made it this far, thank you ever so much. Once again, please, I want to know your opinions. I want to see what the real Britain feels. So drop me a comment. Do you agree or do you disagree? Do you think that our human rights should be protected by all political parties, by the police and by the judiciary? Or do you think, nah, Dan, you're chatting shit again? Please like the video. Please share it. Do all the good things. And I know some people say there's no hype button there anymore. But if you do see a hype, please can you click it? Because it really, really does help the algorithm. It helps me get out there. And it helps YouTube understand that even though these are strong conversations we do have, it's conversations that people really do want to hear. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you are doing. And I will see you again very, very soon.